Hello, you. It's me. And this has been quite a week. And let me just be the first to say I'm really glad it's over. Unfortunately, one of my favorite YouTubers, the Ankle, he does a lot of content on Amber Lynn Reed, Foodie Beauty, and he's been doing a little on Gypsy as well. His dad passed away this weekend, and he's taking a few weeks off, which thank goodness for that. I hope he and his family take care of themselves, because grief can really hit you hard, and especially when you're losing a parent. When you've lost a parent, it's a different kind of feeling, and you kind of go into shock just for a minute. Although I know from what he had said, his dad has been sick. So, but even if it's not a surprise, it's still really hard to deal with. So I wish the best for him and his family. And I hope they take the time they need to, take care of themselves. But it's a sad thing. It really is. And I've heard from so many friends right now that are just suffering financially. It's just been a really tough week. Now, of course, Gypsy getting free from her parole, I mean, that's not a fun thing either. But then I saw this. First I saw it from Morgan Elena, and then straight out of context. And forgive me if I say this wrong. I think her name is Naditha. All of them talked about this, about Ivory Rose, and that's not a fake picture. That's a real picture of Ivory Rose with Ken and Gypsy. And that, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, one, it sucks that I was willing to support her, and I was understanding of her position, and it turns out, and she's friends. She's friends with Gypsy and Ken, or at least she is now. I don't know if it's speculation or not. I think it is. So I'm just going to say, rumor has it that, because she was the one who was on the show, Gypsy and Christy, claiming she was stalking them and harassing them. It could have been all a ruse. They could have all been friends all along. Rumor has it. But, I mean, she played the part well, I thought. I believed her when she said Gypsy got her fired from her job and was harassing her. Her and her minions were harassing her. I believed all that. She even raised money, apparently, to get an attorney to help her so that they would stop harassing her. And then somehow it got shut down because I don't know if people found out it was all a ruse. I'm a little cloudy when it comes to all that because I wasn't really in that. I remember seeing her video that she did her live. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it on another channel where it showed her driving up and passing Gypsy's home. And then I remember watching her complain that Gypsy was going to her home and her work and everything. And I felt bad for her. She seemed to be very genuine. And the fact that she was talking about doing a tribute to Dee Dee by talking to people who knew Dee Dee and, give little stories and stuff, I thought that was so beautiful. I thought what a great way to give tribute to Dee Dee. Something nice to counteract to all the bull crap that Gypsy and her and Christy and all were just spewing out about Dee Dee. I'm not saying Dee Dee was a perfect person. apparently Dee Dee also had a propensity for not always telling the truth. But even with that, why would Gypsy be mad at her mother? Because her mother was completely devoted to Gypsy. Everything she did, even if it was a crime, even if it was fraud, she did it to protect Gypsy and to give Gypsy everything she wanted. So I don't understand the anger that Gypsy had to her mother and what ultimately led up to her murdering her mother. But this whole ruse with Ivory Rose, I guess it's kind of disappointing because I believed her. You know, I was willing to stand for her. She was very likable. You know, yes, she wouldn't necessarily be somebody that I would hang out with. She seemed a little rough around the edges, but that didn't mean that she wasn't a genuine person. So I thought. But she's not a genuine person. And it just, I don't know, it's just disappointing. You know, I obviously do not support her any further. But still, what, you know, more and more things unfold, and you see that more and more stuff was scams and bullshit. And God, I just hate that. I just hate that. And you know, I don't feel embarrassed or foolish for supporting her, because I'm a person who will believe in someone who seems genuine until they give me reason not to. And now she's given me reason not to. I don't think it's a bad thing to trust in somebody until they break your trust. She broke it. But it was just disappointing, you know. I believed her, and a lot of people did. And now it's disappointing to see that she was nothing like what she portrayed. It apparently was just all an act. And that sucks to fall for that. It really does. But what are you going to do? You know, you trust, you learn not to trust. That's that simple. So, you know, I won't be watching her, won't be talking about her probably anymore. Unless something else big comes up and out, you know. Jeez. But it does make me question everything. Now, with Gypsy, you know she's a total liar. Everything she says, she's a habitual liar. Everything she says is lies or untruths most 90% of the time, you know. But you just wonder, like, surface level, we know just so much. How much more do we not know? You know, who else is working with Gypsy? You know, is it, I just don't think in that way. Like, I want to intentionally fool people and screw them over and then laugh at them. I don't think like that, but Gypsy does. And I try to understand her as far as what she's thinking, where she's going with things. But I just don't think that way. I try to look at it. I try to follow the patterns. I had according to Barbara Ann from Straight Outta Context, this happened like a year ago too. Almost the identical same thing. Go check out her latest video on it because it's really good. I cannot explain it because I don't really understand a lot of it. Forgive me for that, but I'll be honest with you, it's a little complicated because I wasn't really following that closely at that time, and I only knew maybe one of the people she talked to. So go watch her video on that. But apparently they did this thing where somebody said she was friends with them, but she didn't really know them, and it was just a whole bullshit thing all over again. It seems to happen a lot. It makes me question everything. Certainly, Gypsy and Ken don't look like they're in love. And this is something I don't really care about. I don't pay attention much. But you could see it looks like a ruse. I don't even believe sometimes that Gypsy... I said from the beginning that Gypsy's pregnancy looked fake. How does the belly get big and small and big and small and big and small like that from day to day? Not just from week or month, but from day to day. It's ridiculous. But there is a baby present. I now question, whose baby is that? And the only reason why I question that is that Gypsy does everything but take care of her child. She's showing a tour of her bedroom while the baby's crying in the background. Who's taking care of the child? Her and Ken are going out for partying all weekend long. Who's taking care of the child? And why isn't the child part of it? I just don't understand. When I had my child, everything surrounded my child. Now, did I go out to dinner once in a while with a friend or something like that? Sure. And that's fine. That's reasonable. You can do that. I'm not saying don't do that. I know some people have to work out of town, and so they leave their child with a family member or their partner. And, those things happen. I'm not saying that. But Gypsy just seems to go out and do whatever she feels like. So where's the baby? She's not going out of town for a business meeting. She's going out of town to party. And I wouldn't even take that from her. Sometimes, on a birthday or some kind of celebration, sure, you give your child or children to a babysitter and you go out and have fun. But a whole fucking weekend? If I didn't know better, if I didn't actually see that Aurora the child exists, I would not believe that she had a child. This child is only 6 months old. Being away from my child for an hour or two was gut-wrenching. It was horrible. I couldn't stand being away from her. I would cry. I cried when she had her first shots. I stood there and held her and cried with her. I don't see any attachment whatsoever. Does she actually have a baby? Or is this baby someone else's that she's just borrowing for some shots? When she was in the hospital, was she really in the hospital? Or did Lifetime set that up? Because at this point, I don't know what I believe anymore. I know Gypsy exists. I know she killed her mother. I know she set up another man to take the fall and then threw him under the bus completely. Still is doing that, which is absolutely disgusting since he thought he was being her hero. She's absolutely disgusting, diabolical, and sick. And I have to question Ryan and Ken for being with her and still trying to stay connected to her. But I'm so frustrated, I guess, is really the thing. Because I try to follow this. I try to follow it in a good, honest way, giving you the information that I know. And then something like this, it just kind of blows it all up. It's like, I know I didn't lie. I know no creators were lying when they were supporting her, or just when you guys were commenting on how you supported her, how you liked her. We weren't lying. They were lying to us. And it just sucks. Is it generally going to affect my evening? Not really. I sit quietly, have a cup of tea, relax, maybe, watch a movie or something before going to bed, whatever. But I'm just so surprised that these things are happening. I mean, I guess Ivory Rose can bullshit as good as Gypsy. But now we have an in, and now we understand. And so she will not bullshit us again, I guess. I don't know. This has been a very rough week. I am so glad that it's over. And we can only hope that next week is going to be so much better. I really hope so. I have my fingers crossed. I really hope that for everybody, for you, for me. I don't know. 2025 started off very difficult with fires and floods and earthquakes. Then rioting. Oh my goodness. Oh, and the occasional fireworks that are being set off. I'm guessing now this is like a precursor to July 4th. They're very loud. Very unnerving. But let's hope that next week is a better week. And now we've got a little bit of clarity. We've got a little bit of clarity regarding Ivory Rose and Gypsy. And now we move forward and continue to spread the word. Continue to talk about the atrocities that she continues to commit. And just keep going. Get it to me. Having that billboard driving around talking about Gypsy not being fit to be a parent and not being fit to be off parole. Normally, I wouldn't support something like that, but in this case, it was brilliant. I applaud the creators who did that, because that was brilliant, and it did put a smile on my face, and a lot of other people too, because Gypsy has to know that she's not going to get away with all this. She thinks she is. She thinks she has already. But it's not over yet. And that's where I keep my hope. It's not over yet. Anyway, thank you for listening. And that's all I got to say.